Welcome back, guys. What's going on? Today we're going to talk about the second part of Windows security and hardening. In this video, we're going to go over the other two aspects of Windows security and hardening. In the last video, we talked about secure network and identities. Today, we're going to talk about application security, or the security on the level of applications, and security on the level of storage. Okay, so when it comes to applications, we always seek to install applications from trusted sources, right? So if you have a program or an application you want to install on your PC, one of the trusted methods is to use the Microsoft Store. Every computer comes with a pre-installed store. You can open the store and then install the applications from there. Let's take an example. So this is the machine that we have. We can access the application store by clicking on this button, and here we can see all of the applications that are hosted on the Microsoft Store. It's very safe to install the applications this way. If you cannot find the application or the program, you can try to download or install it only from the trusted source. A trusted source is the official website of the application. Say you search for an application or a program and you couldn't find it here, you can go ahead and try to find out if it has an official website. For example, if I want to install TeamViewer and if I don't find TeamViewer here, I can go to Google and type TeamViewer. As you can see, it's better always to download the application from the website. If you click on TeamViewer, as you can see, this is the official site of TeamViewer. Judging by the URL, it is better than installing the application from other websites. For example, here it's not the official source of TeamViewer, but it's a website that allows you to download specific and various programs for Windows operating system, digital trends. But it's always recommended to download TeamViewer from its official source. That's one method to install applications securely. Now, suppose that you want to create a policy where you only allow applications to be installed from the Microsoft Store. To do that, we can go to Settings. We select Applications and Features. And from here we have this feature, and installing apps only from Microsoft Store helps protect your device. Now, the option here is set to anywhere, like we can download the application from anywhere and install it on the device. If you want to make it the most restricted, you can select Microsoft Store only. This way, only applications downloaded from the Microsoft Store will be installed. Everything else will be blocked by the operating system. Now, additionally, to secure yourself from malwares, as far as applications are concerned, you can make sure that Windows Defender is up to date, okay, and is working. You can click on Windows Security and make sure here all of the checks are indicate the green check mark. For example, here we have an action to be performed. Let's click on that. So as you can see here, automatic sample submission is off. Your device may be vulnerable. Now, this option is very important and beneficial, to be honest. If you turn this on, all of the binaries or executables you download to Windows will be submitted to an online scanner. Okay, Windows Defender will scan this offline and will submit it also online. In case later it turns out to be malware, Windows Defender will alert you. So it's better to turn this on. Virus and threat protection updates, ransomware protection. This is connected to OneDrive. You have to set up OneDrive to use this feature. Firewall and network protection. If the firewall is on, we talked about the firewall in the network security part. Okay, so additionally, guys, we can use something called the application locker. Application lockers is a feature that allows users to block specific executables, scripts, and installers from execution using a set of rules. Let's talk about this. Let's launch the group policy editor. Run. I type gp edit. Okay, this is the group policy editor. We covered some parts of a group policy editor when we talked about password security and password policies. Now let's talk about application locker. So we can access application locker and create rules by going to Windows settings. In here we check the security settings and we go to application control policies. And we have the application locker here. You see the description is written, application locker uses rules and the properties of files to provide access control for applications. You can block or allow specific applications, guys, or scripts based on properties of the file. Okay. For example, let's take an example. Configure rule. We have to configure rules. So let's configure a rule here. And as you can see here, we have the application lock properties. Specify whether application locker rules are enforced for each rule collection. Executable rules. So this applies only to executable files. We can apply that also to Windows installers, right? Also to scripts and packages, and we select apply. Okay, so next let's talk about executable rules. Click on that, and here we have a couple rules. We can right click and create a new rule. So the rule here will take us, this browser will take us creating a rule to block or allow a specific application. Okay, let's go to next. And here we select the action. It's going to be allow or deny. We're going to select allow and we select the user. If you have an Active Directory installed, you select the user who is allowed to run the application or the user who will be blocked from running the application. For now, we leave this as everyone. Next. And here we select the property of the file. How application locker will be able to recognize that the file will be allowed to be run or blocked. We have based on the publisher, based on the path, or file hash. Let's go with the publishers this time. And here we have to select the reference file. So the reference file is the original file, okay, or the original executable that we download from the official source. Application locker will use the original file so that it will be able to access other files and judge them based on the properties. Go to documents and select, for example, USB device review. If we select this, all of the applications that are or that share the same publisher will be blocked from running. And then say you click on next and you create. For now I'm going to delete this and cancel it. Let's take a look at one of the rules. You can also take a look at the rules here and edit them. For example, let's see this one. As you can see, some of the rules are configured to recognize the files through the path, and some of them are configured to recognize the file through the publisher. Let's take a look at this. So here, it allows all of the applications for all users, okay, where the application is located in the Windows folder. So all the applications and executables, scripts that are located under the Windows folder are allowed to run. Again, under the program files, and here the administrators are allowed to run all files. That's how application locker works. Now let's talk about another feature by which we can secure the applications. So if you go to settings and we check on Windows security, so here we have application and browser control. This is beneficial, okay, if we want to protect our internet activity. And this is also actually valid only for Microsoft Edge. So let's take a look at this. Reputation-based protection. These settings protect your device from malicious or potentially unwanted apps, files, and websites. The setting to block potentially unwanted apps is turned off. Your device may be let's turn this on. Okay. So now it will check device based on the reputation. So if you click on reputation-based protection settings, as you can see, we have these options: check apps and files using the smart screen. As you can see, smart screen for Microsoft Edge. Microsoft Defender smart screen helps protect your device from malicious sites and downloads. This way you protect your self from downloading malicious files, of course using Microsoft Smart Screen. Okay, And here also we check apps and files. Defender Smart Screen helps protect your device by checking for unrecognized apps and files from the web. So all downloadables that you get from the web are scanned for malicious activity using the Microsoft Smart Screen. You also block unwanted application, low reputation apps. Now sometimes there might be some false positives. For example, you may download an application that's not malicious, but it's not very well known. It doesn't have a reputation. The Smart Screen will block the application. So you have to go to the settings here and allow the application or turn this off. Okay. All right. So now let's go to the task questions and answer them. So Windows Defender Antivirus is configured to exclude a particular extension from scanning. What's the extension? Okay, let's find out. So we go to settings, take a look at the settings of Windows Defender, update and security. Go to Windows Security, and then we check open Windows Security here. So checking the virus protection. Here we have the manage settings. It's asking us to find the extension that's excluded from being scanned or from scanning. To exclude a particular extension from scanning, let's find out. Exclusions, as you can see here. So it is PowerShell, as you can see. There is a list here which refers to PowerShell as a file type. So the extension is PS, which is extended from scanning. It means Microsoft Windows Defender will not scan it. A Word document is received from an unknown email address. It's best practice to open it immediately on your personal computer. Of course not. If the attachment is received from unknown email address, we either submit the attachment to an online scanner or we ignore it altogether. What's the flag you received after executing the Office hardening batch file? Let's take a look at the Office hardening batch file. So we have a batch file here on the desktop. Let's right click and take a look at this. Still not opening. Alright, let's take here to the left. Alright, Office hardening script based on best practices. So I think this batch script is for hardening Microsoft Office and preventing malicious files or malicious executions of scripts inside Microsoft Office. Let's scroll down. Start Defender servers, enable Windows Defender, enable Defender signature for potential unwanted applications, enable Defender periodic scanning. So these all settings have to do with Windows Defender. Enable the cloud functionality of Windows Defender. Okay, we have enabled this. Enable early launch anti-malware driver for scan of bootstart drivers. Block Office child process creation. And we have block process injection, block Win32 API calls, scrolling down, and here are enable and configure Microsoft Office security settings. So these are the settings that have to do with Microsoft Office. Harden all version of MS Office itself against common malware spam attacks. Disable macros, enable protected view. Enables protected view. So basically a set of settings that are applied on the registry guides to harden your Microsoft Office. But if you want to apply the script on your computer, you have to understand that this will disable the macros. If you need macros, you have to enable them maybe manually. So you can execute the script here, okay, and then you can go to Microsoft Office and enable the script manually. Let's the settings manually. Let's execute that. So let's see here. Okay, let's type yes, overwrite. Okay. So now we're done on the application's security side. Let's go back to the board. So now we will discuss the storage management. So here, Microsoft Store and several other settings we mentioned. Okay. Now for the storage, the objective here is to encrypt the files at rest and transit. So securing files at rest, it means that all the files that are stored on your computer needs to be encrypted. So here, local, or here, web. So we need to, all the files that are transferred over the web, they are referred to being files or in transit. Okay. So to achieve this, we have to perform encryption on the local files at rest and achieve encryption also when the files are in transit mode, meaning that they are on the being transferred on the web. Let's take a look at this. So to achieve the first one, let's go to control panel. Okay. Now we have here BitLocker drive encryption. So as you know, guys, encryption of the computer is one of the most vital things to which we usually pay little attention. So basically, encryption is so important for securing your files. Now for Microsoft, for the business edition, of course, of Windows, utilizes the encryption tools by BitLocker, as you can see here. So basically here, as you can see, BitLocker is turned off for the disk we have. So we can turn on BitLocker to encrypt our files. The device cannot use trusted platform module. The administrator must set the allow BitLocker without compatible TPM option in the require additional authentication startup policy for OS volumes. So here is one thing we need to enable, but we are not administrator on the system. That's why we cannot enable BitLocker. So administrator can enable BitLocker, guys. As an administrator, you can enable that by clicking on turn on BitLocker, or you can go to TPM administration. So here we have compatible TPM cannot be found. Verify that this computer has 1.2 TPM or later, and it is turned on in the BIOS. So TPM can be first turned on in the BIOS, and then you can turn on BitLocker. Okay. And after you turn on BitLocker, as you can see, you'll be able to set password on all of the disks that you have. Okay. It's also recommended, guys, to encrypt only the disks that doesn't have operating system. For example, leave this unencrypted and encrypt this one. Whenever you want to open this, it will ask you for the password. That's how BitLocker works. Additional feature we have on Windows, guys, is the Windows Sandbox. Windows Sandbox actually is a feature that helps you in the application security or protect yourself from malicious applications. Actually, it uses temporary isolated lightweight desktop environment called the Windows Sandbox. So we can install this feature by going to Start, and we search for Windows Features. Windows So it did not appear here. Let's find this using the control panel. We can go to control panel, select programs and features. Okay, and here we have turn Windows features on or off. You can select this, search for Windows Sandbox. So it's here. Windows Sandbox cannot be installed. The processor doesn't have the required virtualization capabilities. So it depends on your processor, but if you enable this, guys, you'll be able to run all the applications in a sandbox. Okay, so that you won't risk the you want to run the chances of infecting your system. If you don't trust the application, you can run this using Sandbox, but that's how you enable it. Okay, another thing to know, guys, is the Windows Secure Boot. Secure Boot is an advanced security standard that checks the system is running on trusted hardware and firmware before booting. So we can find out if this is enabled, but the only way to enable this, guys, is using the BIOS. So we can check ms info 32. Let's see here. So here we can find BIOS mode. So BIOS mode is legacy. It should be UEFI, and secure boot state is unsupported. So when you check these settings, guys, make sure that secure boot state is enabled and the BIOS mode is UEFI. If you don't find them enabled, we can enable them through the BIOS. Okay. One last thing to enable security for your storage is to back up your files all the time. You don't know when a ransomware infects your PC, and if it happens, you will lose access to your files. So backups is also additional security measure you can take to make sure that your files are always up to date, secure. So we go to security and then backup. So as you can see here, we can backup using OneDrive. If you have a OneDrive account, you can connect the OneDrive to your PC, or you can backup your files to another drive. So basically you can connect some sort of hard disk, connect the hard disk to the computer and backup your files, or you can just use one of the current disks you have on your system and configure it to enable backups. Let's take a look now at the tasks to answer them. A security engineer has misconfigured the attached VM and stored a BitLocker recovery key in the same computer. Can you read the last 6 digits of the recovery key? So the recovery key of BitLocker, guys, is a way to restore access to your drive if you lost the password. So if you lose the password, or if it occurs if you lose the password or you lost access to the password, you can just use the recovery key, but you have to configure it. And here they said that the security engineer has left the recovery key in the same computer. So we have to find out where is the recovery key and read the last 6 digits. Let's find out. So normally recovery keys are stored under the documents. So here, as you can see, you can open this and we can read the last 6 digits, take them and answer them, or put them in the answer. How many characters does the BitLocker recovery key have in the attached VM? How many characters? Okay, let's find out. So we have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8 times 6, 48, so it is 48 characters. A backup file is placed on the desktop of the attached VM. What's the extension of that file? Very straightforward questions. It is BKF. BKF. Nope. Properties. So .bkf. We forgot the dot. So bkf. Okay, and that's finished, guys. That covers only basic methods to secure your Windows workstation or harden it. Updating Windows, of course, you have to keep Windows updated all the time. What's the CVE score for the vulnerability? CVE 2022. Okay, let's take a look at the CVE database. And search for this one. Let's take a look at this. The question is asking, what's the CVE score? So let's search for this. So the CVSS score is 7.8. And this wraps up all of the tasks, guys. I hope you like this, guys, and I will definitely see you in the next video.